What's up, everybody? My name is Graham, and I'm a Canadian licensed electrician. The snow's out there to prove it. This morning, I'm heading out to a job where I'm doing some under cabinet lighting. So I thought this was a good opportunity to take you along with me and show you how I do my installations. So I'll be going over things like lighting layout and installation, hardware, tips, and the connections. And that is it, and I'm heading out now. Here is our kitchen that we're working on today and adding that next level touch with our lighting here. In terms of lighting and hardware that I'm using, for the lights we have these light line LED bars. What's great about them is that you can see there are several different sizes to maximize the lengths that you want for your cabinets. And if they don't fit, they are connectable. That way you can get them a little more custom to the size of your cabinets. They have 5 different color hues to pick from, they're dimmable, and they have a built-in on and off switch. Included with each light, you get one connector. You get these mounting brackets and their screws. Here's a little pro tip. Just double check that the screws are not too long and won't puncture the bottom of your cabinet. What's not included are these flexible connectors that also come in different sizes. You may want these to connect lights if your cabinets are connecting on an angle, or you may want these to go from your hardware box to your light strips, which is what we're doing here today. In other scenarios where you don't have a flex cord, I have just used the supplied connector and ran it straight into the hardware box. Speaking of hardware boxes, these are where you run your supply wire to, then we'll connect the power to your lights. This one has a switch as well. We will go over how to connect and terminate these later in the video. Here is the breakdown of the kitchen cabinets and their corresponding light sizes. On the left, we have enough room for a 9-inch strip. Then we'll have a 22-inch and a 22-inch above the sink. In that big space on the right, we have enough room for a 58-inch connected with a 9-inch. The wires were previously run before the drywall and kitchen went in. Leave a comment if you want to see a rough-in video for how to do that. So the circuit is being fed from this switch right here. So you'll have a 14-2 coming out, feeding this section, one wire leaving to feed the section above the sink, one leaving out to this section, then one more feeding that last little section on the left. In total, I will need 4 hardware boxes and 4 flex cords. The most obvious tip when working with electrical is test to make sure the circuit has no power before you begin. When I left here last, I know the circuit wasn't tied in and energized, but sometimes you never know who comes along and touches something. As discussed with the client, I'm putting my mark at 1.5 inches from the back of the trim and centering the light from left to right. If you can see it there, I have one bracket on each end of the light. On the side with the toggle switch and switch, you either have to land it in the center here or just outside, but anywhere in this range would be quite all right. One tip for getting symmetrical depths would be to take your desired measurement you want, and with this particular block, I cut it to 2 inches in depth, and then you can use it to scribe out your depths for your brackets. This way it makes things faster and more accurate. Install the male end, the one with the prongs, or the switches at the end, in the direction of your hardware box, because the cord goes from that end into the hardware box. This one's worth saying twice. Before you put any screw into your cabinet, double check the depth. On this particular day, I didn't have anything to make a marking block with, probably because it was 1.5 inches, so it was a little thin. So you can see me here struggling with my measuring tape and my yoga poses. It is less efficient and less enjoyable, especially if you're over 35 years old. Once you have your marks laid out, you can go ahead and install the brackets. You have just one center screw. Depending on the size of your light determines how many brackets you get. So usually you'll have one on each end, and then you'll have 1 or 2 in the center. The double light comes with lots of brackets, so there's plenty to go around. Then once you have your brackets lined up, you can take your light, and I like to tilt it so the back fits into the bracket, and then you can just push it into the bracket. Then you can work from left to right down the light. You can see that I'm busting out all the different types of yoga poses today, and that is pretty much it. Here it is again in real time. And now we're going to install our hardware boxes. You take off the faceplate cover with 4 screws on the front. Here is what it looks like on the inside. You'll notice that there's not a lot of room in front of these terminals, so it's a little tricky, and you'll need a pretty small terminal slot screwdriver. My advice is to get your light in place first, put in your flex cord, and then temporarily plug it in and play around with it until you find a location that works with your wires. I like to mark out the holes on the box, so that way I know where the beginning and the end is, and it'll give me a good idea about where I could mark my wires in terms of stripping length. Now I'm going to use my knife to cut out the tabs on this plastic knockout, then put in an NMD snap connector, and then I'm going to strip the sheathing on both my wires, then push the wires into the connector. If you're lucky, you can have some play with your wires coming out of the wall, where you can either pull some out or push it back in to adjust. I'd push as much into the wall as I can, so that way if you ever need extra, it's always there. I find it easier to terminate the wires first, and once that's done, fold the access of the wire back into the space of the box. It is good practice to start with your ground wires first. So we're going to fold the other wires out of the way just to give us the most space and get the lengths of the ground the same. And then with some pliers, bend about 1 inch of the end of the wire. That way it could slide into that small space you have to work with. Then you can go ahead and tighten them up and then fold the access into place. And then we're going to strip about 3/8 of the white wire, bend both ends with the pliers again, then bend the wires into the terminal slot. You may have to keep pressure on the wires with one finger as you tighten them up. And we're going to do the exact same with the black. The biggest thing to keep in mind when you're putting this all back together, if you have a bare ground wire, you have to be mindful that it's not touching any of the other terminated wires or their screws. And this is what it looks like when everything's all terminated and folded back into place. And then we can close the lid and put the screws back in. And then we are going to go ahead and mount this, plug in our flex cord, and we are good to go. And now it's that moment you've all been waiting for. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Truthfully, I may be installing a dimmer switch, but that's more of a me problem than yours right now. Thank you everyone for watching. Give a brother a like and a follow, and have a good one.